So before I'm going to break down the 7 different frameworks for story sequences that we utilize and the way we track everything accordingly for us to constantly have the ability to post a full sequence every day without me needing to be involved, let me explain exactly what most people feel. Most people don't fail with this because they don't have a system for it. People don't fail with this because they are too lazy to do it. First of all, they don't understand how to do it. They don't understand how to effectively design each of these story sequences. And the third one is they don't have data, so they don't understand what to do accordingly to improve it. The first thing I'm going to show you, there are 7 different frameworks. One framework that recently worked very, very well for us that we've been testing, and technically that I did yesterday, is this one. 10 a.m., I started my morning recording a testimonial with my client Jade, who's been with us for 6 months. She made over $350,000 in profit since then. Then 12 p.m., 2 p.m., 4 p.m., 4:30, 8, 8:30, 9. Let me explain you the real secret here. The reason this works so well is because people love to follow a storyline of a founder. So let me explain. You're watching my content right now. You would love to watch what I'm doing on a day, right? You would love to watch, to know, and to figure out what I'm doing on a daily basis for you to have the ability to replicate that process. Now, what I'm doing here is not just explaining what I'm doing on a daily basis. I actually add 3 things: value-based content, educational-based content, and proof. Proof that here at 4:30, I got a lot of client results. And here I was also interacting with a client, right? Later on in the day at 8:30. Here I was talking about fulfillment. Here I was, again, with Jade, one of my clients, recording an in-person testimonial. I came home here where me and my CEO, my creative director, came home and started recording the third content asset. So I'm making it extremely inspiring for people to follow based on the education that I deliver and the value that I provide within the actual sequence to make it tangible. If you say, Nick, listen, I find this a little bit too complicated. There's no reason for me to constantly explain my audience these things. No worries. Just make one like this, where you just post a picture and you add the time to the picture, meaning people can follow your day. This is more evergreen. This will get you more views, but it will get you less conversions. That's very important to understand. Now, the second one, when we follow a second structure, we follow a structure which is called timeline-based story sequences. Now, what are these story sequences? Very simple. Every next story adds value to the prior story, where it becomes a timeline, right? A structure of progress. Yesterday, me and Brian, he has a big audience. To showcase you the real result, we broke it down. Here is how we broke it down. Step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, step 5, step 6. And you know what? You don't have this system yet. So here is the exact system that we use for conversion. Then this happened, that happened, and ultimately you can add a CTA. If you want to make money and you want to leverage a CTA for inbounds, you must leverage such a story sequence where each story adds value to the prior story, because the moment you do that, you will get an insane amount of buyers and actual conversions in the DMs. You will decrease story views, I'm going to be honest, I'll tell you right now, but you have the possibility to convert a lot more because it works so fucking well. People are tapped in. They're in a flow state. You have them mentally. You just have them by their fucking head mentally. You see what I mean? Meaning they're extremely adaptable because you have influence over them. Now, the third story sequence is Q&A. Your audience wants to know what's going on with you. I want to make sure that every 2 weeks, at least once you do a Q&A, just how do you feel? What is going on in your life? How is business doing? What is going on in business? Every time you do this, you touch a very, very important part of the brain, your prospects and audience mind, because you create so much relatability. This adds 10 times more relatability than any other fucking story ever will. So you need to leverage these Q&As. The fourth one is client result stacking. So what I always do when I do this, very important, I post one lifestyle-based story, then I post one educational-based story, and then I post 3 or 4 client results. So how does that look like? The first one is, imagine you wake up to this. The reason I'm doing this is to catch an insane amount of views first. Let's say normally I would get, let's say 20,000 views on my story, right? Now I will get 30,000 as an example. So then you leverage education and the reason I'm leveraging this education is, first of all, to warm up people. Second of all, to filter out the wrong and the right people. And third of all, and this is what most people don't understand, I leverage these numbers to associate the next stories of results with these outcomes. So when you read this, and then you'll see a client result, you relate that client result with this outcome and with this system and with this process. You see how smart that is? So lifestyle, education, client result, client result, client results. And we have an amazing community where everybody shares the results. So you can see here, Arush bought a fucking ridiculous. Like it's like a fucking $100,000 watch. We see Felipe here with a Rolex, fucking $10,000. We see Amir here buying a Rolex. I think it's day fucking $30,000, which is like absolutely insane to think about. You know what I mean? Because we just constantly share these lessons and values with our community for them to have the possibility to communicate it to us. And that's the reason why I can post these types of stories. Like, think about it. Now, then, ultimately, we just covered the first one. We covered the second one. We covered the third one, the fourth one. We go to the fifth one. The fifth one is the day you don't know shit about what to post. You really have no clue about what to post. You just, the moment this is what I have as well. Trust me, like I'm good at story sequences. I've done them consistently. I've invented this as a new acquisition process within the market that everybody is replicating. I know that, but to be humble, I sometimes don't have fucking any clue what to post about. You know what I mean? I have no single clue. I feel like I've gotten every topic. I feel like I have no energy to do it. So what I do on that day is I take 5 to 10 niche important topics. What are niche important topics for me? Appointment setting is a niche important topic. Sales is a niche important topic. Acquisition, right? Marketing specifically when it comes, story sequences is one. So I do that and I transcribe these into a message. So as an example, here I had no single clue. I just took 6 pictures. And one, I talked about my day, 30K a day, 90 million in client results, this, that. One, I talked about a system, right? And ads. One, I talked about content and making a 12-hour free course. One, I talked about meditation. So there is no structure to this one. And that's the best thing about it, because every day you have a structure. The story sequences without structure actually create personalization and create that trust that people need. Now, when that happened, after, we have the next one, which is a actual story launch. So a story launch, trust me, we've tested so many of them. We made over $600,000 ourselves, purely from story launches. Now, what is a story launch? A story launch is where you put up it's technically a short webinar for your stories to have the ability to sell something. This specific story sequence you see here brought us in over 250 grand from only our stories, which is absolutely ridiculous. Now, instead of you trying to copy this, which will most likely not work for you, because the only reason we made this is because we knew exactly what worked for us at the time we posted this. This is around a half year ago, right? Around, I think 4 months ago. So we know what works super fucking well for us. This is the thing. I'm not gonna explain you the exact copy of it, which you can see on the fucking screen. I'm going to explain you the sequence behind it and why this works so well. We have data on every single story sequence for every single path of what works and what doesn't work. You can see that here. So as an example, these story sequences are posted. We can see the total amount of views. We can see the percentage of completion, which is 71.9%, which is very high for a sequence of around 9 stories. Then, as an example, we can see the drop-off rate. So you have to understand, when we have a system like this and we post story sequences every day, imagine I do this for 100 days, how much valuable data I have and the amount of things that I can track accordingly. About this, I'm gonna make a story today and I'll show you. Look at specifically this part. So it technically says every day I post a story sequence, we can see the amount of DMs and interactions. We can see the profile and story views from it. We can see the drop-off rate. We can see the compared performance. So we see when it works better than any other story. And the copy, it capitalizes on the copy. So AI, technically, the system, capitalizes on all the copy that we have actively here for us to have the possibility to see what works and what doesn't. It will give us a full report. Obviously, I will be able to outcompete what you're doing. Obviously, you see where I'm coming from. If you comment under this YouTube video, stories, I'll be able to send you over all the 7 different frameworks I just explained you, I'm happy to do that in full, so you have a clear idea on exactly what's going on. I could just send you this over. I won't send you these stories because it's not going to make sense for you. I'm going to send you the exact template of what you need to follow step by step, and what action steps and copy you need to put where for you to succeed within your niche, with your values and your offer, right? Because so many people try to copy my stories, and then they say it doesn't work, obviously because it doesn't work for your niche. We need to build something custom for your niche to make it work. I want you to get as much fucking value out of this video. I want you to milk it out. I want you to make millions from this video. So just do what I tell you to do. Don't be selfish, and just make sure that this is ultimately what's going to make you lots of money, right? You just have to trust me. You just have to listen. You just have to implement. It's very fucking simple. And then it will work out. And then ultimately, one more, sorry, my bad. We have lifestyle as well. You just need to make sure to post lifestyle as well to accordingly create personal bonding with your audience. Make sure that your audience knows what you're up to. And that creates a lot of interaction. That creates a lot of progress within the interaction that you have as humans between each other, as audience between each other, because life is not always about business. This is what I always say in content. To give you one big tip, 80% of the content is made around business, you being the expert. 20% of the content is you being you. It's you being human. It's you being yourself. You'll see that in this video. Like, I have a lower voice because it's 10, 12, almost, it's 11 p.m. here, in between. And I'm just enjoying making this video for you right now that you can hopefully benefit from. And maybe you can, maybe you can't. At least I think if you're still watching, you definitely can. Which is amazing. So you see that I'm talking with a different voice than when I'm on camera talking in my reels. You know what I mean? And that's one add-on of that 20%, while I'm still delivering here as an expert the rest of my value for the 80%. So I think there's a perfect balance between that. You need a system, you need fucking 7 different frameworks, and you need data to be tracked for you to have an understanding. And then ultimately these reports give you the right data to make the right decision. So these 3 things are exactly what you need.